Uh, what's up? Hey there. Y'all have probably seen me on TikTok, talking about things that don't matter or, making jokes about things that don't even really make sense. But this video right here is actually to, help y'all out, give you some advice that worked for me when it came to, pushing through ArtBlock, trying to push through that blah mood and get something pretty decent on paper. And that's just what I'm trying to help y'all with today with this video. One thing you want to do is get a much smaller sketchbook. Now, the one I got here, I got it from Walmart when I was out just shopping for regular stuff. It wasn't nothing extravagant or eccentric or like from some highly accredited place. I just got it from Walmart. And usually when I get sketchbooks like before, I figured out how I wanted to keep this going. I would get like 11 by 14 Canson XL sketchbooks, and one that cost too much money, because this has honestly lasted longer than like any of my larger sketchbooks, and I've had a lot more fun with it. And honestly, I've gotten quite decent sketches out of it. What you can do with that is don't use pencil. Don't use any pencil because you don't need to erase anything. Go in with a ballpoint pen or sketch pen and just sketch. Just make lines, and even if that line doesn't look good, it stays there. You just got to keep it moving. Allow you to be more confident with your pen strokes and more accepting of your mistakes and how to incorporate that into the finished piece. Because yeah, with a lot of new tech, you can undo strokes that you didn't want there, but it allows you to be more accepting and more flexible with what you already have down, so that you're not constantly backtracking and erasing what could be good progress. You just don't realize it until later on. You know what I mean? And another thing you can do with that, take notes in your sketchbook. Don't be afraid to just write notes or little blurbs, dialogues. Like, make that sketchbook feel like something you can put anything in, that it's not a place reserved for only the greats. Make it a piece of your artwork, a gallery of work that is very raw. It's very full of attempts, failures, outrageous successes. You have to let it be that place where all of it is welcome, so that when you flourish, you really flourish, and when you fail, you can see where to pick up from there. That's why I say get a smaller sketchbook, because it removes that ethos, that intimidation from a larger canvas. Another thing you can do is make a sketch full of just a bunch of random lines and squiggles and curves, and see what you see out of that. Now, maybe for some of you, you may not think that like works, or that it won't yield anything. And I thought the exact same in the beginning. But when I allowed myself to just say, hey, I need to leave making something. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be amazing. It just has to look like something. It allowed my creativity to flow. I was like, okay, well, this looks like an arm. Maybe I add some fingers to this. Maybe I pose them this way. Maybe with fingers in the hand, there's, the further of the arm and the shoulder and head. Maybe they're sitting. Maybe they're skating. Maybe they're driving. You just kind of ask yourself what if or maybe, and you just expand on it. Now, another thing I used to do, and I kind of still do now, is I, recreate old artwork. Maybe I wouldn't recreate the entire drawing like form for form, line for line, shape for shape, color for color, but I'd take old characters that I drew way back when, 3 to 5 years ago, and I draw them now, just to see how much my style has changed, what I still like about the characters, and how much I've changed myself. Because y'all don't realize how much your drawings speak a lot about your state of your soul. And at some point, I do want to discuss more about like my philosophies and beliefs about art, because I think when you do it the right way, it can be healing. But that's besides the point. We're talking about ArtBlock. But for me, I kind of started to realize that I was getting a little bored of just doing traditional pen and ink sketches all the time, because like, one, they were very time consuming, and it was too daunting of a task to fill up an entire sketchbook page. So I decided I'd finally use the iPad I had and make digital art. And at first it was hard. I mean, because it's a whole different medium. The friction is different. The pressures are different. the way you color, the way you shade, everything was different. But I went for it. I picked up my Apple Pencil and I just made some sketches of my OCs or tracing over old drawings, and it helped. It got me more comfortable into that medium for me to make more things. So for anyone that only does traditional art or and is still kind of stubborn about transitioning, you should give it a try. You don't have to stop doing traditional entirely. You don't have to stop. What you can do is just kind of like what I do, or at least what I did in the beginning. I would make a sketch in traditional and I'd take a photo of it and I'd have it in the same gallery as my iPad, and then I just insert it on Procreate and trace over it. And that got me more used to making those drawings, making more confident brush strokes, with the pen. It helped me out a lot. And sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zone. I know people keep saying that, but it is true. You have to venture into things you're not used to, because it kind of expands your creativity. That fear gives you more to work with. And it makes it all the more rewarding when you do good in the task. The reason you have ArtBlock isn't because you don't know what to draw. It's because you don't know what to draw that won't have you fail, that won't have you look bad, that won't expose the weaknesses in your artwork. And I know that feeling. Anytime I post something, it's a drawing of something I'm sure at least represents my skills well. I won't draw things that aren't out of my caliber. I won't draw things that I know I'm not familiar with. But you have to if you want to increase your visual library. You have to draw these difficult things if you want to improve. And you should cut yourself some slack. You're not a bad artist. You're just too hard on yourself. That's all.